Ubisoft announced back in November they were changing up the whole Rainbow Six esports ecosystem heading into this year, and immediately I had things I wanted clarified. One of them was what's happening between June and September, because there's a whole 3-month block where we used to have a stage and a major that's now just effectively one big-ass mid-season break, and the other was what's happening to the Tier 2 scene, because there were no announcements about it at the time. 6 months later, we kind of have some answers. It looks like this summer is about to be as dry as the Sahara for Siege events, with the only oasis being Gamers 8 in July for a weekend. And there's only a couple of Tier 1 teams that are involved in that. But as it turns out, Tier 2 isn't entirely dead. It's just not called Challenger League anymore. This is Element. The eagle-eyed among you might notice that the dragon in this logo bears a striking resemblance to the dragon in the SCS logo. And I just lost most of you who don't have any idea what that means, so let me explain. Element is a North American Tier 2 tournament activation designed to be the replacement to the current NACL system without the promotion/relegation component. It runs from mid-June to late July with a prize pool of 25 grand USD, and it's exclusive to the teams that aren't currently in the NAL. This is an official Ubisoft product, but it's not being run by Blast. It's being run by Nerd Street Gamers and designed by the guy who ran all of those SCS tournaments in North American Tier 3 a few years back.
Hey, Jacob!
Yes?
What am I supposed to watch while I eat my dinner?
What?
Make a video!
I'm doing that right now. Motherfuck. Peter Fermain Nightingales, everybody. You may know him from such production bangers such as popping player tweets on screen mid-game, creating low-res profile picture stakes graphics for games, or forcing the chicken into a game between OXG and Astralis at the height of that bug's popularity. He's a former Challenger League producer, currently works with me and the rest of the remote crew on Blast's English language broadcasts, and he's the molten core at the heart of this Element project.
We worked together, like, most recently in Blast. Like, we were doing Brazil together. That was fun. You remember me waking up and shaking at like 6 in the morning after preparing the package overnight, remember? Dude, remember I was like...
Yeah, that's the suppressed PTSD at this point. Tier 2 has gone through a lot of format changes over the past few years, but Element's format is super straightforward. 2 sets of open qualifiers with 4 winners apiece. Those 8 teams then go to face another 8 automatically invited teams in a Swiss bracket, and then we get to the top 8 teams who play in a single elimination best of 3 with a best of 5 grand final.
It's basically the new path to pro, but without the actual relegation path. It allows a lot of players during the off-season to play and practice in a very highly competitive setting, while also rewarding teams from the previous major qualifier. This first iteration of Element is going to be Element 1, hosted during the summer of 2023. We will have 16 spots for the teams. It might change for Element 2, which is confirmed to be happening in the second off-season. 8 teams who are invited are going to be... primarily from the major quals and the top placing teams who are not in Tier 1 currently. If you want to qualify for the event, you are more than welcome to play in the open qualifiers. They're going to be completely free for entry.
Based on what he's saying here and what the graphics detail about how the tournament's going to work, the 8 highest placing non-pro teams in the Copenhagen major quals would be Aerial Arise, West Garfield Park, Card & Co., GGG, which I don't even know if they're still a team at this point, Wildcard Aces, Orbit, ex-Lycus Empire, and a team named Somali Pirates with a dude named Senpai on their roster. Incredible. None of those teams are confirmed as of the release of this video. I'm sure we'll see the announcements for the invited teams roll out over the next week or two, but based on what they're saying, that would be the invite method. The thing is, this is not a Pro-Am, so any of the Tier 1 teams are shit out of luck for competing in this.
Ubisoft wants to reevaluate how the ecosystem is developing. Things might change. This is not a hard ban on Element. However, this is a solely Tier 2 opportunity for only the players who are in amateur or in major qualifiers. Currently, all pro teams and all pro players are not permitted to play in the event. how things may change over time.
Now, regardless of whether pro teams were originally being considered for this tournament or not, I think it's important to recognize UB actually making a concerted effort to keep the Tier 2 scene alive. Like, to me, this should be looked at more as an opportunity for that part of the ecosystem, even if promotion and relegation aren't a thing, because teams are still playing for one of the best prize pools that Tier 2 has ever seen, and it's still an audition tape for pro teams who may be considering picking up new talent. Even if pro teams eventually get added to Element 2 during the December offseason, it's less that they got gypped out of this tournament and more that it was always intended for players who aren't yet on that level to get better. That's a healthier way of framing it, IMO. Now, some people didn't like or didn't understand the Swiss format that got used back at the Copenhagen Major. Ferme has actually been doing Swiss brackets for a long time, but he's going about it the right way.
With a major, all the promotion games were best of ones. With us, all the promotion elimination games are best of threes. So to advance to playoffs, you have to win a best of three. You can't just roll your way through with best of ones, because we believe best of threes is the better team will win it. And we know so many upsets can happen in best of ones. It also introduces a lot more fun games and extends the duration of the tournament.
This is the only applicable use of best of ones, in my opinion. I don't like watching best of ones in tournaments that are supposed to be the highest level of competition. Best of threes are infinitely superior in every way for that. But if you're going to have best of ones, doing it in a tier 2 or an amateur tournament and then having best of threes be the promotion or elimination gateways is totally fine. For this league, I really don't have any issues with that. I don't know why Copenhagen didn't use best of threes for promotional games. It just doesn't make any sense, but that's neither here nor there. I digress. I was also curious why they're not sticking to the Challenger League branding. Like, Ferme was one of the people who worked on CL back in the day with me, so I didn't know why they switched things up.
I had never really thought about it. Realistically, we looked at as an opportunity to create something special, and it, to me, doesn't really matter what you name it. It's about what the message is behind the tournament. You could name it Challenger League and, have the exact same thing, and it won't make a difference, right? The message is still the same. The message is compete and achieve new heights. It was an opportunity for Ubisoft to give us a little bit of our creative spin and creative control over how we want to present this project. The whole point of Element is to deliver a product that we wish we had back when we were playing. I myself come from coaching background and never really achieved too much, but I always wanted to have something that I could play for and something I could be proud to compete in. And that was like my whole drive behind hosting tournaments and running my projects.
The only reason I disagree with that is Tier 2 has always been called Challenger League. It's always been under that banner. Like, we still call the Tier 1 teams Pro League teams, even if that name is 3 or 4 years dead. That's what ESL called Tier 1, but we still use that lingo. It won't be easy to get people to call this Element and not CL, or maybe it is quick. I don't know. Branding consistency to me is just important, and changing it up after it's been a thing for years seems a bit odd, but I don't know. We'll see.
So with Element, we're taking it up a notch and we're introducing new systems. For example, first time we're going to be having an open source statistics API, which means anyone can just go to a web page, find any player, and sort them against every other player. Those statistics will be available to everyone, and we will be delivering them pretty much every day. The second thing is production. We're elevating even further. The project allows me to create something very, very special as a producer to promote the players and showcase their abilities. It's a combination of everything that we have learned as a group to what works and what doesn't, putting all together into a very nicely tightly knit cohesive package and delivering into the ecosystem to show the new standard for what tier 2 competition could look like. And I hope that our product might influence Pro League as well, since this is going to be a nice way for Pro League and for Blast to see potential things that could be implemented into Pro League itself, since they could be using us as a testing ground.
Overall, I think all of this is good shit. Ferme's never been incapable of delivering on his vision, so it's good that UB have decided to work with him on this. Tier 2 badly needed love after not hearing about it for months, so this is fantastic news for this part of the ecosystem, even if some consider it the bare minimum. Which, to be fair, they're not wrong. It's more exposure for players, it's more practice for talent, it's something to help fill out this summer because there's almost nothing happening until September. This is really only a good thing, and I am excited to see where it goes. but I just don't think it's enough. The general consensus is that having nearly 3 months of no sturdy, meaningful competition for the top teams in the world is going to be a real problem. I've seen that from all sides of the spectrum, like mostly from players. There's a real concern that it's going to be super tedious to get into stage 2 after so much time spent away from actual live, streamed, casted game day reps. Element is fantastic for what it brings, and in most cases brings back to North American Tier 2. But there are still so many other voids in the scene that right now it doesn't really seem like many people are really able to pick up. I can only speculate as to why there's such a massive void of tournaments over the summer, but to me, Element is only one part of a scene that really needs more surrounding it in order for it to remain healthy for the competitors and to act as the primary marketing arm for Siege, the game that esports ultimately is. That said, I can't really do anything about that. So because Element seems like the only thing that will be on Siege TV for the next few months, I'm going to be co-streaming it. The qualifier phase doesn't have an actual official stream, so you can come watch it with me because I've got official observer permission and teams can't dodge broadcasts, I think. Then once we get into Swiss and the playoffs, I'll be co-streaming normally because the official broadcast will be going live at that stage. So come join me, twitch.tv/CaliberJacob on June 16th through the 18th and June 23rd through the 25th if you want to watch the qualifiers. If you want to play in the qualifiers, I'll link all of the rules and the resources down below so that you can read up on all of this yourself.
This is going to be quite exciting. And again, remember, this is a project built by the ex-players for the new generation. This is not some sort of corporate person making up things. This is literally built by people just like you who used to play, and they want to create something special for the new generation who are trying to compete, who are trying to reach that new step. It's going to be the biggest project the community has ever done. And it would be really great if you become a part of it.
I also really hope that this goes well, and if this sets a good precedent for the first iteration of this tournament, here's hoping Element is the CL replacement we've all been hoping for, and also happens to be a little bit better. So, yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Thanks a lot for watching. Please jump in my Discord server and follow my Twitter, my Twitch, and this YouTube channel for more in the coming days. Standard outro, blah, blah, blah. I'll see you.
Hey, Jacob! It's time to make a video.